And watching some of these videos with these Howard students that y'all have been sending me is both heartbreaking and yet not surprising, because Howard has had this issue since the early 2000s. Don't let them sit here and think that, it was just an issue a few years ago. I guarantee you, there's students from the early 2000s. I know a couple of them that have had issues with Howard's accounting. Now, here's the thing. Some of y'all getting in these comments blaming these babies, talking about, oh, well, if it's too expensive, you shouldn't go there. Let's talk about the historical connection of the expense of college and the fact that it was always meant to be an expense of college that was supposed to price out Black students. Now, it is kind of ironic that this is at HBCU and we're having issues with Black students, but let's not act like the proximity to whiteness is not a thing. Let's not act like that, certain members of that board don't absolutely embody what it is to be an HBCU and that they're not sitting on prime real estate. Now, understand something. The one thing that I'm finding that, nobody is talking about in these things is how to help these students fix this situation, because I'm a former financial aid officer. So here's the thing. Going on their website and looking at the Howard Impact Fund, because there's a lot of situations where the students are saying they are not allowed to use scholarship funds for these balances. Now, that leads you to believe that something has happened with those scholarship funds. And a lot of those scholarship funds, meaning like the Howard Impact Fund, was money that was donated from either alums, businesses, whatever the case may be. So, at this point, we need to start reaching out to those folks who donated that money. If you donated that money for certain scholarships, you might need to file Form 13909 with the IRS, because what's going on with your money that you donated? There's other state charity regulation boards that you can also put in an inquiry to make sure that they are absolutely doing this, because what is happening is they're singling out these students and hoping, like, just like when you get a little job and they don't want you to discuss your wages with your fellow coworkers. They don't want students to come online and talk about their financial woes with them, or they don't want them reaching out to people. But we're going to help them do that. So when you see those Howard students that are saying that they need help, share those videos. Absolutely share them so that those students can get seen by people. Because here's the thing. If you are able to donate, reach out to those students and help them, because they can only make a payment to their account by either cash, check, or, debit or credit, whatever the case may be. They can't use scholarship money. And this has nothing to do with the big beautiful bill, because if you read it, if you understood it, hell, if you just been listening, that shit doesn't take effect until next year. Even the Pell Grant situation, next year. That has nothing to do with that bill. This Howard and Howard alone. Now, we also know that Miss McKenzie, the ex-wife of, multi-billion-dollar tycoon, has donated millions of dollars. Mackenzie girl, you might need to call them people and ask them where your money is going, because I know you've been donating to make sure that these students are not being thrown out of their dorms or waiting until school starts and having those students have their name read out in front of everybody and having them exit the classroom. Now, again, I'm always somebody who likes to come with solutions. If you're going to do it, do it. But you also, like I said, we got to help these little babies out here, because just because they're in college does not mean that they're adults. They are still out here trying to navigate that shit. And just because, your ass had to quote unquote get it out the mud, we ain't got to be like that, y'all. You sitting on information, share it. You sitting on resources, share them. Because it's only going to help you in the end. So, young babies, I hope this reaches y'all. And y'all can find somebody that can help y'all absolutely pay down those balances. But here's some other things that I'm going to tell you as you send your kids off to college. Make sure they are getting an account statement at the beginning of the semester, at the middle of the semester, and at the end. And here's the other thing. Ask for a motherfucking audit. And you are well within your right to ask for an audit of your bill from the bursar's office, because it's a debt that you owe, and they have to explain every charge, every line. Don't let them get away with this shit. Now, y'all go have the day that you deserve.